The pharmacy was too bright for someone who hadn't slept in 2 nights. Aisha stood near the counter, her dupatta pulled tightly around her shoulders as if it could hold her together. In her hands was a small white box, antibiotics the doctor at Nishtar Hospital had prescribed for her 6-year-old son, Hamza. The fever had started as a whisper and turned into a storm by morning. By afternoon, he could barely lift his head. "Start the medicine today," the doctor had said firmly. "Don't delay." Aisha hadn't told him that delay was sometimes the only option she had. The pharmacist scanned the barcode and looked at the screen. 4,800 rupees. Her fingers tightened around the box. She had expected it to be high, but not that high. Is there a smaller pack?" she asked softly. "This is the smallest." She nodded, swallowing hard. In her purse were crumpled notes and coins she had counted 3 times already. 2,000 and some change. She had sold her bangles the week before to pay rent. Her husband had passed away 2 years ago in a road accident, leaving her with debts, a rented room, and a child who still asked when Baba would come back. Behind her, the line shifted impatiently. "I'll just check," she murmured, stepping aside. She opened her purse again as if money might magically appear this time. It didn't. Her mind raced. Maybe she could ask the pharmacist to hold it until tomorrow. Maybe she could call her neighbor. Maybe she could borrow. But Hamza's burning forehead flashed before her eyes. Tomorrow felt too far away. She walked back to the counter, her voice barely audible. Can you keep this aside? I'll come back." The pharmacist shrugged. "We can't hold prescription medicines without payment." The words felt heavier than they should have. Behind her, a man in his late 30s watched quietly. He wore a simple shirt, sleeves rolled up, a file tucked under one arm. He had been scrolling through his phone, but now his attention was fixed on the woman in front of him. Aisha placed the box back on the counter slowly, as if she were returning something precious. "It's okay," she said, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I'll manage." She turned to leave. "Excuse me," a voice said from behind. She froze. The man stepped forward. "Is that all she needs?" he asked the pharmacist. The pharmacist nodded, "Yes." He looked at Aisha, not with pity but with something steadier. "Please put it on my bill." For a moment she thought she had misheard. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I said," he repeated gently, "put it on my bill." The pharmacist hesitated, then began scanning the box again, this time adding it to the man's purchase. Aisha's face flushed. No, I can't accept that. I'll pay you back." The man smiled faintly. "If you want to pay me back, then do it for someone else when you can." Her eyes filled before she could stop them. She wasn't used to kindness arriving without conditions. "Your child is sick?" he asked quietly. She nodded. "High fever, the doctor said not to delay." "Then don't delay," he replied. "That's all that matters." The receipt printed. He paid without another word, picked up his own medicines, and handed her the small white box. "For your son," he said. She held it like it was made of glass. "What is your name?" "Imran," he replied. "And yours?" "Aisha." He gave a small nod. "Take care, Aisha." And just like that, he walked out. Hamza's fever broke the next evening. Aisha sat beside his bed in their small rented room in Multan, pressing a damp cloth to his forehead when she noticed the change. His breathing had steadied. His skin no longer burned under her touch. "Mama," he mumbled weakly. "Yes, John." "I'm hungry." She laughed and cried at the same time. It was the most beautiful sentence she had heard in days. As she fed him small bites of khichdi, her mind kept drifting back to the pharmacy, to Imran's calm voice, to the way he had stepped in without hesitation, without making her feel small. It would have been easy for him to look away. People look away all the time. The next morning she counted the money she had earned from stitching clothes overnight. Not much, but something. She set aside a few notes in an envelope and wrote a name on it. Imran. She didn't know his full name. She didn't know where he worked. All she knew was that he had been at the pharmacy near Nishtar Hospital around 6 p.m. It felt impossible, and yet she tried. For 3 days, she went back to the same pharmacy at the same time. On the fourth day, she saw him. He was standing near the shelves, speaking to the pharmacist. Her heart pounded as she approached. Imran. He turned, surprised, then smiled in recognition. Aisha, how is your son? Better, she said quickly. Much better because of you. He shook his head. Because of the medicine. She held out the envelope. Please, it's not the full amount yet, but I'll pay the rest soon. He didn't take it. I told you, he said gently, you don't owe me. But I do. He studied her face for a moment. There was pride there and dignity, not stubbornness, just self-respect. All right, he said finally. If you really want to return it, then promise me something. What? When you see someone in need and you are able to help even a little, do it. That will be enough. She hesitated. I can't always afford. I'm not talking about money, he interrupted softly. Kindness doesn't always cost money. She lowered the envelope. Something in her expression shifted, like a door opening quietly. Why did you help me? She asked. He looked away briefly, as if choosing his words carefully. 2 years ago, my younger sister needed medicine. We didn't have enough that day. We thought we could wait until morning. Aisha's chest tightened. We were too late, he said simply. The pharmacy noise faded around them. So now, he continued, if I can stop someone else from waiting, I do. There was no drama in his voice, just truth. I'm sorry, she whispered. He nodded once, so am I. They stood in silence for a moment, strangers connected by something neither had chosen but both understood. Weeks passed. Life didn't suddenly become easy. Rent was still due every month. Work was still uncertain, but something inside Aisha had changed. The world no longer felt entirely cold. One afternoon, while waiting at a small clinic, she noticed an elderly woman arguing softly with the receptionist. I don't have the full fee, the woman was saying. I'll bring the rest next week. The receptionist shook her head. Policy is full payment. Aisha looked down at her purse. She had just enough for her own consultation and bus fare home, no extra. Her mind echoed with Imran's words, kindness doesn't always cost money. She stood up and approached them. Auntie, she said gently, you can take my spot. I'm not in a hurry. The woman looked confused, but I insist, Aisha smiled. It wasn't much. It didn't solve everything, but the gratitude in the woman's eyes felt warm and familiar. A few days later, Hamza came home from school with a story. Mama, my friend forgot his lunch, he said proudly, so I shared mine. Aisha paused. Did you? Yes, you said we should help when we can. She blinked back tears. The lesson had traveled further than she realized. That evening, as she tucked him into bed, her phone buzzed. An unknown number. Hello. Assalamu alaikum, Aisha. It's Imran. She smiled instantly. Walaikum assalam. I was at the pharmacy today, he said. The pharmacist told me about what you did at the clinic. He knows my cousin who works there. She felt embarrassed. It was nothing. It was everything, he replied. There was a pause. I've been thinking, he continued carefully. I run a small printing shop near Kant. I need someone trustworthy for part-time bookkeeping. It's not much, but it's steady. Would you be interested? Her breath caught. I have some basic accounting knowledge. My husband used to. Then come by tomorrow, he said warmly. Let's talk. The next day she stood outside his modest shop, nerves fluttering in her stomach. A simple signboard hung above the door, nothing fancy, honest work. Inside, Imran greeted her with the same calm kindness she remembered from the pharmacy. They discussed hours, pay, responsibilities. It wasn't charity, it was a job, earned, respected. As she stepped out into the afternoon sun, appointment confirmed, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hoping. Months later, on a busy evening, Aisha stood in that same pharmacy again, this time to buy vitamins for Hamza. In front of her, a young man argued softly with the pharmacist. "I don't have enough," he was saying. "I'll bring the rest tomorrow." The words felt like an echo from another life. Before she could overthink it, she stepped forward. "Add it to my bill," she said. The young man turned, startled. "No, I can't." She smiled gently. "If you want to repay me, then help someone else when you can." Across the pharmacy, Imran stood near the door, having just walked in. Their eyes met. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. Because sometimes the smallest sentence, "Put it on my bill," can change more than a moment. It can start a chain of mercy that keeps moving, quietly, from one heart to another.